You didn't expect to be here, did you? Well, I guess it's time for proper introductions. I'm Malice. Malice Blue. But you already knew that, didn't you? You see, I know you've been following me. Surprised, aren't you? Well, I've noticed that you've been lurking around where I've been. And stalker doesn't quite fit you. It's more like the creepy guy who I see everywhere. You're like little kids in Slender Man. But I noticed you about a month ago. But I bet you've been following me longer than that, huh? I've seen you outside my house. I've seen you when I'm going out to eat with my friends. I've seen you at my workplace. And I bet you never once expected you'd be here. Instead of just taking photos from the sidelines. But you know what? That's okay. Because now you're my captive. Isn't that going to be so much fun? I think it is. Now, I know you're still a little bit woozy. I did knock you out. It's weird when the hunter becomes the hunted. They never expect things to be lurking up behind them. So I bet you really didn't expect, the shovel to the back of the head. I bet that hurts. I cleaned up your bump a little bit. There was a bit of blood, but blood doesn't bother me. What bothers me is people lurking around my house in the middle of the night. That's what bothers me. It bothers me when every time I step outside, I have to worry about someone being there or doing things that shouldn't be done. So why were you following me? Still haven't found your vocal cords yet. Yeah. You know my cat. You know everything about me. What I wear, how I do my hair, where I go, who I see. But I don't know very much about you. Precious. You good kitty. She just wants attention. Just like you did when you followed me everywhere. But the tables have turned. And now I've got you just where you need to be. Tied up and unable to talk. Don't know if you've noticed it yet, but I sewed your lips shut. Freaky, huh? I'm very handy with a needle and thread. My mother used to work in an ER. And she'd come home all stressed out and have herself a drink. And sometimes she'd tell me things about what happened, who she took care of, and what their problems were. And I remember one story about this guy who came in with stitches. Apparently he had cut himself open somehow and decided he was going to stitch himself up with some yarn. But I do a cleaner job than just any silly filly billy. Your lips are sewn shut, so you won't be talking. But I don't really expect you to be answering many questions. I don't have many questions for you. I just want you to know how it feels like to feel trapped in your own home. Now you get to feel trapped in mine. But you brought this upon yourself. Maybe you should think twice before following random girls around for months at a time. I bet I'm not the first one. I've been reading the newspapers. I know that there have been people lurking in the night. Doesn't really surprise me. What did surprise me was that you chose me of all people. Let's check those stitches, shall we? Also need to see about that bump on your head. Don't need you going unconscious anytime soon. Let's see. Still good and tight. Very good. You're barely bleeding anymore, so that's a good sign. I put a little bit of Vaseline on it. Thought that might be a nice touch. Of course, it made your lips kind of look like you were eating red jello. But it's just congealed blood. It's nice how these things work out. Alright, let's take a look at the back of your head. The bleeding stopped there too. I'd ask you if you're thirsty, but I don't see you opening your mouth anytime soon. Not that you need it. I'm sure you don't have anything pleasant to say. So, I have to wonder though. Why would you be following me, of all people? I'm nothing special. I'm not particularly interesting. I'm not rich, not famous, just a girl. Yet you seemed keen on following me everywhere I went. I spent my days worried about if I'd step outside, if you were going to be waiting for me, if I was going to get kidnapped. I tried calling the cops, but they could just not find you. They talked about putting me in a psycho ward. Silly idea, I know. I don't belong there. I'm far too interesting and creative. And doing puzzles all day with people drooling just isn't my thing. But you know that, don't you? I bet you know everything there is to know about me. But I'm not interested in knowing anything about you, other than knowing you're stuck right here where I want you. Did you think about this moment at all? Where you'd be right up close with me? Right here. Bet you didn't think the tables would be turned like this, huh? If you keep giving me that evil look, I might have to sew something else shut. That won't be fun at all, will it? Of course, I might have to shove something in it before I sew it shut. And that won't be enjoyable for either of us, will it? No. So, how you doing? Cops, well, the police officers that I talked to, before they insisted, or more of their words, said that I probably should go to a mental asort. See? Even with your lips tied shut, I don't know what to say. Silly how that works. So, you have this rope. It's just a small, simple rope. Some tassels. It's always nice. I thought about many uses for this rope. The cops told me I was crazy, that I was just imagining you. But here you are. Told me that they couldn't find you, that you didn't leave any trace, that I was making you up to seem like a damsel in distress. I'm no damsel, and they suck at saving maidens. So I just became the hero of my own little story. Hope you don't mind. Not that you could say anything about it. I know I talk quite a bit, but it's nice to be listened to. You're such a good listener, aren't you? I did find your little bugs in my house, by the way. The one you tried to slip into my mailbox, which is a silly place to put one. I saw the other one next to my kitchen window. That was a little bit better placing. I found myself getting interested with the bugs, your little microphones. I always wondered if you listened to them every day, or if it was just an occasional thing. Or maybe you just put them there to scare me, I'm not quite sure. I found myself making up little scenarios to talk about when I'm alone. Talking about where I was going the next day, not going there, or talking about people I knew who I didn't know. I even made up some fun little stories for you. Did you ever hear those? Yeah? What'd you think? You can sit there and stare at me all you want to. So I wonder if you've noticed that your mouth is full of sawdust. I didn't want to say anything. I thought it would be fun to just let you sit there and mess with it. I mean, it's no fun just sewing someone's mouth shut. I thought about filling it with cat litter. You know, it's handy. I thought about filling it with your little microphones that you shoved everywhere. But then I thought, what's the fun with that? Give you something to mess around with. Might even give you some weird ideas. So I went downstairs to my little wood shop, and I got some sawdust. And I was like, this is fun. This is a good idea. I'll use this. So while you were knocked out and lying in my living room floor, I decided it was a good idea to shove it in there and just sew your lips shut. Are you enjoying it? I think I might have caught a cockroach too. Wouldn't that be fun? You're so quiet. I could get used to this, having someone to talk to. You can't talk back. And you'll die soon eventually, either of starvation or madness. Or maybe the cops will find you. I actually thought about calling them at one point. Did you know that? Saying I finally found the man who was following me around. You're not that sneaky. I saw you the first time you were walking around. You were right out that window. You were walking some little annoying dog up and down my road. You kept stopping and looking through my window. I was just doing my regular cleaning, getting things together and whatnot, trying to tidy up the place. But every time I looked out that window, there you were. What were you thinking? Were you planning on ways to sneak in? Guess we'll never know, will we? No. Don't pull at your stitches. This isn't going to be fun for either of us, okay? But I have to tighten them now. Well, you're the one who messed them up. They were so nice. Gonna have to tie that off later. If you keep this up, I will cut your tongue out. Don't you think that'll be fun? I'm sure the things that you thought about doing to me were a lot more interesting, but a girl has ideas sometimes. So, are you thirsty? Yeah, a little bit. I happen to have some tea here. Bet you'd love a drink of tea. I love tea. This is my favorite mug. So smooth and nice. Nice and toasty. Want a drink? Gotcha. Did you really think I was going to give you any? You'll die first. You're boring. I thought somebody who would be as conniving as you would be a little bit more interesting. But you're a disappointment. Quite a disappointment, if you ask me. What? Think I was gonna strangle you? Get rid of you quickly? Nah. This is just extra left over from when I bound your hands and your legs. But you are boring. You're a lot less interesting than I thought you'd be. Maybe I will call the cops. Well, unless you get more interesting, I will turn you in. And I can take those stitches out, clean the sawdust out after I knock you out again. And it'll look like you never had any accidents that included that kind of fun. Well, you're just uninteresting. You're dull. Boring. A waste of space. I could just kill you. But then I wouldn't have any proof that you were a stalker. And that's no fun. Well, looks like you're gonna get knocked out again. They won't think I'm crazy when they see you. They'll know that I wasn't just making you up. They'll have to believe it, that you were following me. Even if you are just my neighbor.